what happens when a designer is indecisive. We have 30 tile patterns to choose from. Which do you prefer? All of them! Is it a bad thing for the Mother of Dragons that she can't even play a simple game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
Or, bear with me now, since this used to be a slave city, these tiles were stolen from the places where they took slaves from. And that's why they're different.
How do I know you are who you say you are?
This is a great question, and it's about damn time someone didn't know someone else in the Seven Kingdoms. There are way too many scenes in this series of people recognizing each other because of the most mundane bullshit.
It's been a while since I've watched this show, but from what I remember, there really aren't that many scenes like this at all.
So I should welcome you into my service because you murdered members of your own family.
Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, the first of her name, Queen of the Andals.
See, when the show does it, it makes sense, but when Jeremy does it, I cringe.
A ruler who kills those devoted to her is not a ruler who inspires devotion.
Holy Dragon Balls, this whole scene rules, but does it make sense? Since when is Daenerys apt to invite instruction from someone she just met, especially as stubborn as she is about her own authority? The show had some very interesting things it wanted to do here, but it had to pull a bit of character cheat to do it.
Well, Tyrion came for the specific purpose of advising her, so even though she is stubborn, she is smart enough to hear him out. Also, what she's saying is completely logical, so why would she not listen to him?
So if Jorah has grayscale and it's as infectious as the show says it is, he has just infected quite a few people under Daenerys' rule.
This is actually wrong. The show has already told us that grayscale is only passed along by touch. It's not airborne, so he would have to make direct skin-to-skin contact with someone else to pass it on.
How will she serve him?
She will no longer turn left onto Ragman Lane. She will turn right and go to Ragman Harbor.
While I enjoy a good Google Maps Westeros discussion as much as the next throny, every time the show cuts to this Arya storyline, it causes me to have Game of Groans. Seriously, between this and the Sparrows, I'm shocked this show didn't lose half its audience in the 5th season.
I agree with you on the Arya plot. It is kind of boring, but the Sparrows plotline is actually pretty damn interesting.
She will see.
See what?
Apparently she will see a hammock made for a giant with no practical purpose to anyone during the day, as it provides no shade.
Jeremy, are you aware that this is a port city? Meaning it's right on the sea? Meaning that fishing is a big thing here? Meaning that's not a fucking hammock, it's a fishing net?
Also, I get that Cersei thinks she's above everyone, but I still can't figure out how she thought letting the Sparrows serve their own brand of justice wouldn't bite her in the ass eventually.
You literally just answered yourself in the same sin. She's super egotistical and didn't think that the Sparrows would ever grow to be a threat.
I deserved everything. I deserved to be weak.
As depressing and, might I add, boring as this whole Greyjoyless storyline is, for once I'm glad that this show kills off characters quickly. Certainly we don't have to put up with him for more than a couple more episodes, right?
Whether or not you find this plotline boring is up to your personal opinion, but I'm sending you for making yet another one of these jokes, where you say something that you know isn't true and treat it like humor. It's gotten really old.
It bugged me for so long, and now I'm just gonna say it. How the f*** does she have curls like this in the front and not the back? Curling irons aren't a thing in Game of Thrones.
Jeremy, are you trying to tell me that it was impossible to curl someone's hair before curling irons were invented? Seriously?
Not a single person who shares your blood is alive to support you.
Or ride your dragon, if you know what I mean.
Jeremy says boner.
Let me fight for her, and I belong to you.
I don't know what Jorah's long game is here, but he's become the most pathetic character on this show, and Sam is still alive.
Pointing things out on the screen cliche.
Thirsty? Confess.
Or just move your head forward a half inch. The spoon is right there.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you really this stupid? You do realize that the Septa is holding the spoon and will move it if Cersei moves and tries to drink, right?
If she's desperate enough to suck the water off the stones, why is she letting it drip back out of her mouth without swallowing it? Not once, but twice.
Because it's fucking disgusting? It's floor water, dude. Cersei is one of the highest people in the social hierarchy. She's not used to drinking this kind of shit.
I've seen The Army of the Dead.
Well, I haven't. Is Dave Bautista good in it? How Zack Snyder is it?
Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
You trust me, Jon Snow?
Does that make me a fool?
It absolutely does, but to be fair, with the kind of moves Cersei, Stannis, and Bolton have been making lately, Jon is maybe only the 4th biggest idiot on this show.
This sin proves that you do not pay attention. The show has done very well in establishing why it's a good move to trust Tormund and rescue the wildlings, but you're completely ignoring all of this.
Load of bones.
That's funny. Lord of Bones is what my college girlfriend used to call my college roommate. I didn't even realize Game of Thrones was around back then.
Jeremy makes a cringy college girlfriend joke cliche.
I put an arrow through his heart.
Oh, come on, this is enemy territory. Why would you shade the truth in the opposite direction? You gave him a merciful death when others wanted to torture him. I know Tormund is going to spell that out here soon, but considering how quickly death can come, I say maybe you lead with that.
I mean, no matter what, they're not going to trust Jon. So even if he led with that, he'd need Tormund to step in for him, so it wouldn't really make much of a difference.
Considering the size of the building, how was the giant ever standing up inside in the first place?
He wasn't. He was sitting down, you fucking dipshit. Also, remember earlier when you sinned the show for putting a hole in the roof of this hut, 'cause it's too cold to do that?
Well, me. The secret to surviving the frigid north is no roof. We've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Well, that hole is actually presumably for the giant to stand up in.
Bad guy has opportunity to stab hero in the chest, but opts for blunt end of the weapon instead cliche.
This is gonna take some explaining, so bear with me. The weapon that evil Santa is using here is a spear, which has rounded edges, not blades, meaning he can't slash at Jon. This means that he has to be able to build up enough force to stab Jon through his armor, which he couldn't do when he was standing right next to Jon. The real sin is when he slashes at Jon later to try to cut off his head, because his weapon is incapable of doing that, so it's really stupid for him to slash at all.
Best of luck to you guys. We've unfortunately got Mets tickets, so,
Unfunny joke is unfunny.